Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has probably had about the worst week ever. Can we get a welfare check on that one?
We don't have ethical rules that say that you can't receive text messages or you can't respond to text messages, especially if somebody has a certain record and you can't do it in committee. So let me be clear, there is no ethical violation. And so the idea or the audacity to decide that you want to strip a Black woman of her committee assignment because she was texting with Epstein.
Oh my God, you can't text. You can't text. You can't. The problem is not the texting, Jazz. The problem is the whole texting a pedophile, you moron. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Happy Friday. I gotta tell you, every day that passes, I feel more and more resentment and disgust with the Democrats, just as a whole. Generally speaking, they just seem to be really bad people. Because you have the Jasmine Crockett thing, which we'll get to later. But you also have these Democrats, these failed theater kids who are trying to make a name for themselves, as they so often do. And now we're talking about Representative Elissa Slotkin. I couldn't have picked her out of a lineup before this week. But now people are talking about her because she and Mark Kelly and, again, Jason Crow, a new name that I learned this week, because nobody knew who these yahoos were. And then they made a video. They made a video where they stood in the same place and they encouraged a military insurrection against Donald Trump. Now, you may think that's hyperbole. I don't believe it is, because they made this video, they posted it publicly, and they were telling people, members of the military, to disobey orders from their boss, which, as we know, their highest boss would be President Donald Trump, also known as the Commander-in-Chief. And in case you missed it, here's the video.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans.
It's so pathetic. It's so incredibly pathetic. If you have something to say that Donald Trump is doing that is illegal, just say it. Just say that. Just tell us what you're accusing him of and give us proof of whatever your accusation is if you're going to tell people to disregard illegal orders. Just say it. Just have the balls to say whatever it is that you mean. No, Democrats can't do that. These are cowards who are failed theater kids who just want to go out and make a video. They just want to make a video and be ambiguous. Who's to say what we mean? That's up for you to interpret. Do you see how dangerous that can get? Really freaking quick, which is probably why, as we pointed out yesterday, President Trump called them out, said this is really bad, dangerous to our country, seditious behavior from traitors, lock them up with 3 question marks, President DJT. And then, of course, he did also say, which, he went hard. That's one thing Donald Trump is known to do. Seditious behavior punishable by death. Now, I would just like to point out, seditious, treasonous behavior is punishable by death. So what he said is technically true. Now, I guess the question is whether or not it would qualify as seditious behavior. But now Donald Trump, unfortunately, has given them exactly what they've asked for, because we know that Democrats want to be the victims. That's their entire reason for existence, is how can I be oppressed today? How can I be a victim today? And now Donald Trump is the big bad villain meanie. And the Democrats are screeching about how, oh my, I can't believe Donald Trump said the word death. He's calling for the death of these people. Oh my God, what a horrible dictator meanie. And you have, stuff like this going on from Chuck Schumer.
Let's be crystal clear. The President of the United States is calling for the execution of elected officials. This is an outright threat, and it's deadly serious. Who would have thought the President of the United States saying his opponent should be hanged? It's outrageous. No president has ever stooped as low as Donald Trump. None.
Wow, you sounded really outraged, Chuck. It didn't sound like some staffer just wrote that for you to read and it was your first time reading it. I mean, give me a break. Do you know what's outrageous? What's outrageous is members of Congress making videos insinuating that there are illegal orders going on, but not willing to put their name to whatever it is that they're accusing Donald Trump of doing that is illegal. That is outrageous. It is outrageous for them to basically try to start a coup in the military by trying to have all of these rank and file members determine what the hell they mean by saying, you do not have to follow unlawful orders. Don't do it. It's your constitutional duty not to do it. And by the way, you know, it's so cute that now all of a sudden they have a problem with cheering on death. I seem to recall someone who was wearing the exact same shirt that I am wearing, who was assassinated, and they didn't seem to have a problem with the political violence. Okay? So, excuse me while I don't take your outrage seriously, Chuck. Now, on top of that, as I mentioned, Democrats are just like perpetuating, just perpetual victims. Always a victim about something, always crying about something, about how they're oppressed. Well, of course, House Democrat leaders, they contacted Capitol Police after President Trump did what they said were death threats. Yes, Donald Trump threatened to kill these people now. I mean, like, it's just all theater in DC. It's just all theater. None of these people are serious. They are not serious about making the country better for us. They are not serious about anything. They're like, oh, Capitol Police, will you please come to our address right now? Because Donald Trump, the president of the United States, threatened us because he posted on Truth Social that he didn't like our video and he thought that it was seditious behavior. Like, shut up, you whiny bitches. You are such cowards. You started this. What did you think he was going to do? Say, yeah, it's really cool that you guys are encouraging insubordination and you guys are encouraging like basically a military insurrection, a military coup. You're not doing this in secret. You're putting it out publicly. You're literally recording the video, editing the video, posting the video, and now somehow I'm the bad guy for calling out the video that you put so much time and energy into for everyone to see. So now these people are, instead of being brought up for charges, they're under 24/7 security by Capitol Police. I mean, what whiny babies. Guys, you started it. You're the ones who stood up and said, and oh, you guys be super duper brave. Not us. We're not brave. We won't tell you what it is that he's doing, and we won't actually stand up for anything when we have the chance because we're members of Congress. It's a joke. By the way, President Trump was asked about, God, were you calling for their execution? Earlier this morning, here's what he said.
Well, if you look at sedition, if you look at, that type of, that's a very strong form of being a traitor. It's a terrible thing to say. I must tell you, I heard it, and I thought it was some kind of a comedy situation. I thought that it was some kind of a skit, and because I couldn't believe that they'd say it. And I watched Democrat congressmen and one Democrat senator yesterday on one of the shows didn't even want to discuss it. They said, whoa, don't get me into that one. They don't want to get into it. That is a really serious charge. I'll tell you what they said is, and it was, I mean, I don't know about the modern day things because, modern day is a lot softer. But in the old days, if you said a thing like that, that was punishable by death.
Yeah, but you're not threatening them. A lot of people are interpreting there's a threat and there's security.
Well, I'm not threatening them, but I think they're in serious trouble. I would say they're in serious trouble. These are bad people. These are people that, in my opinion, broke the law. Now, what happens to them, I can't tell you, but they broke the law. That is a terrible statement. I can say if I ever said that and there were a Democrat as president, all hell would have broken loose.
Exactly.
And it has broken loose. I have had more calls from people, even Democrats, saying what a horrible thing that was.
Exactly right. And isn't that the point? I mean, these people, like, they're just so ridiculous and absurd. Here's what they expect you to believe. They expect you to believe that they truly think that President Trump's Truth Social post means that he's going to pick up a weapon and go hunt them down and go try to actually put a bullet in their neck. Obviously, he's saying they committed a crime. His belief, they committed a crime. And if the crime has a punishment of death, that's obviously what he's saying. That would play out in the courtroom. But of course, I mean, they know that. This is all just smoke and mirrors. This is all just a dog and pony show. This is all just, absurd theater. How do I know this? Well, because low T Jason Crow, who is one of the losers that you saw in that video, gun grabber, by the way, our friend Adam Johnson made sure to point that out earlier this week. Jason Crow, big tough Jason Crow, who wanted to film a Hollywood production telling people in the military, hey, I'm not going to tell you what, but if it's illegal, you don't have to follow it. I'm big, I'm strong, I'm Jason Crow. He's asked by CNN to double down. He's asked to hey, are you suggesting that people should not follow command? And Jason Crow, here's Jason Crow's big moment. Here's what he does.
So are you saying that there was not necessarily any particular precipitating event? There is no specific thing out there that made you decide now is the right time?
That's right. To be clear, we are not calling on folks right now to disobey any type of unlawful order.
Oh, okay. But hold on. But you just did the video, and it was a big production. You added subtitles so everyone could see. A big production, and now you're not actually encouraging people to disobey any orders, lawful or unlawful. So all of this, and now all of a sudden you're asked, why don't you give us more information? Are you encouraging people to do that? No, wasn't me. I never said that. What a f***ing coward, dude. Now, again, what is it that is illegal or unlawful that the military is asking its members to do right now, Jason? Still, nothing comes to mind.
I think a lot of people scratch their heads and they say, what exactly are they talking about? Are they talking about
Martha,
not allowing gunboats to make it to the United States carrying drugs?
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Martha, here's a novel idea. How about we actually prevent things from happening before they become a problem?
I think that's what they're trying to do.
What you're saying is we have to wait until there's a problem to respond to that problem.
No, I'm not.
No.
What
reminding them of their obligation.
From the commander in chief
that
we are asking our military to carry out, are you objecting to? This is very, very vague. And it was so vague in this video. I only be able to figure out what you guys were all talking about,
What is
honestly.
it?
Martha, Donald Trump has made a series of very disturbing comments.
What is it, bro? What is it? What is it? Because if it's the boats, if it's blowing up Venezuelan drug boats, and you want to talk about preventing something from happening before it needed to, let's talk about 4 years under Joe Biden. Let's talk about that. I mean, obviously, that was nothing that Donald Trump could have controlled. He knows that. It's all just theater to these people. All right. Want to make sure we're going to have to go to break here real quick. I want to make sure you are subscribed to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Hit the bell. It might notify you. People hit the bell all the time and they're like, YouTube's not notifying me of shit. So I don't know, but just hit it just in case. Smash the like button. It'll help us in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us as conservatives, and comment on the video. I want to thank our sponsor, and then we will be back with our next guest. But let's thank our sponsor, SelectQuote. So life insurance is one of those things that people don't like to talk about because it's weird to be like, hey, I'm going to die someday. And I don't like, it's not fun. It's not fun to talk about. But the point is, you really need to make sure that when your family is going through the loss, grieving the loss of you, that they don't also have to worry about how are we going to make ends meet, especially if your only life insurance coverage is at work because jobs change, and that's only temporary protection. If you find yourself without that job, you're going to find yourself without that insurance. Get insurance that actually belongs to you. You can do that by going to SelectQuote. They have these agents that they're not going to try to get you into this one size fits all package. They're going to get something that is right for you and your family. And by the way, they work with all these carriers that you might think, I have diabetes, I have high blood pressure, I'm never going to be accepted. They actually work with some of these carriers that will accept you with conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, things like that. It's very, very easy, and it doesn't take time at all. So less than 15 minutes, I think, they can get you a quote. Go to selectquote.com/Sarah. You can save more than 50% off over there. Selectquote.com/Sarah. Welcome to the show, my good friend Ross Patterson from the Drinkin' Bros, who is, of course, drinking. Hi, are you drinking Hard AF?
You caught me literally mid-drink, and that was not staged whatsoever. Yes.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there.
My own product. Not dead serious. I was like, because usually your husband's like, hey, we're on. Okay, cool. And I didn't hear that. So what I did was I was drinking anyways, because yes, that's what we do on the show. Also, it's Friday, and I'm celebrating today. Sarah, book was number one. I did end up beating out Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
Although Patton Oswalt pulled a dirty move last night, dropped his book down to $7.
Oh.
And that's what they do, so they can go ahead of you and get the top spot. But I was number one for 3 days this week. I know.
Okay, so let's tell everyone. So I really, honest to God, I told my producers, I said, okay, my friend Ross has a new book out. I want to help him promote it because he's trying to get to number one. And then we just got word when we got you on, like, oh, you already got to number one. And it, like, I was ready to come in and help be the hero. And now
Here's the thing. It happens so quickly, Sarah, that I am going to give you credit. All right.
Right.
It's called The Final Inch. Here it is right here. It's available in hardback, softback, paperback, wetback, your mom's back, all of it. It's
not wetback.
Yes, wetback, okay? I say that in the book. It's fine. But it's the first ever series of romance novels for dudes. This is the final one here. And it's been a wild, very odd journey for this because it started off as a joke, and I'm not kidding. I don't know if you know the story of it.
No, I don't. I was looking forward to hearing it.
So my agent had asked me to write a book forever, and I'd sold a bunch of screenplays in Hollywood and all that other stuff, TV shows and everything else. My wife was pregnant at the time, who you know Jesse, Jesse Wiseman from Crime Corner, excellent show on the network, shameless plug. And she said, look, we're about to have our first child. Will you please not go make another movie for a while? And I was like, yeah, but I mean, I can't just do nothing for 9 months. Sure. How about I write a book? Well, in the meantime, I was doing a press tour for this movie that was about to come out, and they were having me read excerpts of 50 Shades of Grey. That was big at the time. It was huge at the time, and I want to say it was 2013, 14, somewhere in there. And I was doing different impressions of it. So it was like, hey, can you read it as Morgan Freeman? So I would read an excerpt of 50 Shades of Grey on the radio and be like, and there she was, lying on the bed, and we were all... and it was like whatever the BDSM shit was in there, right? And then I would do as McConaughey or, Bruce Springsteen or whatever. Finally, after like the third radio interview that I did, because I knew that I did a bunch of impressions, I finally just bought the book. So I took it home and I read 50 Shades of Grey. And it was terrible.
It's awful.
It was absolutely Awful. It's an awful book.
Yeah.
And the problem with an awful
hold on. I just want to I want to be clear here, Ross. So just, not to cut you off. I want you to keep going. But like, I'm not saying like the things that they were doing were like ew. I'm saying like the writing was terrible.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah,
and if you do it in like because I think there's space in the world for everything. I really do. Like Danielle Steele writing those romance novels, like to me, they were hilarious, and she kind of seemed like she was in on the bid a little bit. Like, all right, I know what these women want, and I'm going to do this thing, you know, with the pool boy or substitute teacher, or I got stuck in a dryer, and then the guy's coming over from the mechanic place, and he's going to help me out, and whatever your fantasy thing is, whatever you're into. We don't kink shame on this show, and Drinking Bros never have, never will. And I read the 50 Shades of Grey, and I was like, this is a different vibe. This is just a terrible writer versus what Danielle Steele and like the rest of those romance novels were. And so I called my agent and I was like, hey, dude, what if we just did a romance novels for dudes, but I wrote it like Naked Gun? And so how ridiculous can we make this where every line is a one-liner? It's about the worst human being on the planet who's married with 8 kids in the 1800s, but he's rich enough to have beaten AIDS twice, and now he's 186 years old. And it was during the time that I wrote this, was 2014, and it was about a guy who was going to write his memoirs about the last real man on earth. And then after he wrote it, he was going to blow his brains out. That was it. He was going to do cocaine, drink whiskey and beer, and then blow his brains out at the end. But in the meantime, he's going to tell you what really went on for the last 186 years. Okay. And there's like sex scenes over the years with like Harriet Tubman and like, I mean, wild shit. So it's kind of like Forrest Gump, where all these famous people are popping up throughout history in it. And then it's sold. So the first one was called At Night She Cries While He Rides His Steed. Completely ridiculous, as it sounds. And the audiobook is what actually popped on that. So I didn't really have social media. My co-host in Drinking Bros, Jared Taylor, was big in that world. And he goes, dude, you got to get social media and everything else. And I was like, I'm starting these movies. I don't really want people to know about my private life and everything else. And then it switched overnight, where it was like, put everything you do on social media. And like, we're seeing way too much of it on there. So it was a slow burn. When the hardback came out, it did okay, but I didn't have enough social media to push it. The podcast wasn't out yet or anything for Drinking Bros, and I didn't really know how to promote it. But I went into Simon & Schuster, and I said, look, I want to read the audiobook on my own with all my actor friends. And they were like, we don't do that. It's, this British guy who does like 99% of audiobooks. And I go, yeah, but I can get a whole team of real actors to do it. And I'd played this character in a movie, and I go, the audience is going to be pissed off if it's not my voice in the audiobooks.
Yeah.
So I convinced them to let me do it, and it was the first time. And we got in many, many arguments. And my pitch at the end, which sold it, and I told Matthew McConaughey when he was on the show, was him. So I go in there and I go, if Matthew McConaughey had written, and this was in 2014, this is way 10 years before Green Lights. Because that's what he was on the show promoting his book. I go, if Matthew McConaughey wrote a biography about his life and you didn't hear his voice on the audiobook, people would flip out, because all you want to hear, man, is there I was in the back of a van, just kind of smoking weed, all this stuff. And so when you hear it, I go, the audiobook would explode if he did that. Why can't you do this with this? And so they fought me till like the nth hour, and they eventually caved, did it. And then the audiobook is actually what hit #1. So the New York Times bestseller list now has an audio book list specifically for audiobooks. So you can hit the list not only in like paperback and hardback, but you can now hit it on the audiobook side. But it didn't hit the New York Times bestseller list, I think, until like 2019 or 2020, somewhere in there. And then Spotify 2 years ago named it to their top 100 audiobooks of all time.
Oh my God.
And so that's what happened. And so then on the next one, they had ripped out the sex scene. It ended with a sex scene with Harriet Tubman. And I had control of the artwork on the second one, and I had control of what I was putting in the second one. So at that point, they were like, look, if we don't agree with it, you get the rights back. So I go, great. I had my artist make a cover. And if you pull it up, it's the second one is it When Darkness Falls, He Doesn't Catch It, I believe is the second one. And I put Harriet Tubman on the cover. Okay. So it's me running with Harriet Tubman in a field. And I go, we're that chapter that you guys cut out, we're leading off the book with this. And I'm not going to say who because it's not an NDA, but everybody listened to the audiobook, and I got an Oscar winner to read Harriet Tubman. So like these audiobooks just kept growing and growing and growing, and the residuals have been sick, and now audiobook sales are 80% of book sales. So it's 80-20 as far as like Kindle, hardback, and then paperback. And then this last one we went all out for because it takes place in the 60s. So I was able to convert the hardback into the original 1960s like textbooks that they got as like kids, and so it looks like that.
Wow.
So it's pretty.
Okay, so
yeah, super wild story.
So this is the final. So do people have to? Should they go back and purchase the other ones too to understand the final inch?
Yes, because it takes place over the span of let's call it 120 years. Because again, this guy is rich enough to beat AIDS, and he's tripled his life expectancy.
Sure.
And that's what rich people do. And it's, by the way, I wrote this, and this is the very first beginning of this, that the real man was dying. The male, the toxic masculinity and all that other shit was dying. And then if you were rich enough, you could have wild ass sex parties, do drugs, and with the most famous people in the world, which that's where I also got lucky on was that's actually what has happened over the course of the last 10 years.
Right.
So like,
yeah. I'm like, well, yeah, that's all true.
Weaker,
yeah.
And I mean, all of it is, but here's the thing. In 2014, none of that shit was talked about. The Me Too movement wasn't a thing. And that's why this started just really steamrolling towards that 2018, 2019 period, the entire series where they were like, dude, how did you know that in 2014? And it was just kind of an observation about the world out in Hollywood at the time.
Yeah.
And like, I've been to some wild ass shit. Like I told you, I went to a Diddy white party.
I know.
Now, I wasn't famous enough to go into the house afterwards, thank God.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but
that
like,
turns out to be a good thing, Ross.
I got lucky, but I wanted to go. I was like, I don't understand, man. I'm at the party. Why can't I go into the second house? The black guy was just like, nah, man, you ain't going to the second house. It was 3:45 in the morning. So the other party was outside. It was awesome. Yeah. He was like the nicest dude ever at the time. I didn't know. And then I didn't know what was going on in that second house, but thank God he was like, yeah, you ain't going to that second house, white man. Like, you're good. We got some other shit going on up here. And I was like, okay, shit. But the sex stories, the other things, everything kind of related to what was going on at the time in our country over the last 10 years. And it was a total accident. It was just kind of observation that I was making. And then some of these stories, like the sex stories and shit, were based on people or parties or things that I had, either heard about, walked into, or heard from other friends and crazy guests that we've had on Drinking Bros.
So you were kind of, it's prophetic that you thought to write this.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
But literally on accident. Because it starts off, the first one, no lie, starts off with the reason I'm writing these books. It's about the last real man on earth, and I'm tired of what the male has become. And then you hear a guy ordering a Mick Ultra from the bartender. And so like that's how it literally starts. And all of that shit has held true for the last 10 years, and it just keeps getting amplified.
Yeah.
Well, when I was able to buy the rights back, because they said no to the Harriet Tubman thing, and they were stuck. So they had a 30-day thing, and like on day 29, they were like, we can't do the sex thing with Tubman. And I go, well, I get the rights back. And they go, great. And there was a penalty for paying for it. So I wrote the check. At the time, I wasn't amped for it, but I had the foresight into the future of what audiobooks, podcasts were going to be. Because now the second one, podcast is out. Podcast already had like 1 million listeners in a month and all that other shit. And I go, I want the rights back.
Yeah.
So I own all of it across the board. So every cent of this, besides whatever the cut that Amazon's taken, goes into the bank account at the end of the month. And it's great.
Like, I to be clear that whoever buys this book is just paying me. So please just do that. Is what Ross is saying. I just you're just funding my lifestyle. So please do that. Is Amazon is that where you want people to go buy it?
Yes, and here's why. So this is another by the way, I wanted to do this with you today because I kind of want to give anybody out there who's thinking about making a book or anything else. Everybody's like, man, I got to get an agent, or I got to get in a Barnes and Noble and my local bookstore. 96% of sales are coming from Amazon. So like the agents and the bookstores and all that other shit, like it used to be fun and it used to be awesome and you could take people in to a bookstore and show them that you were on the shelf at whatever your favorite bookstore was. But that's not where your sales are coming from.
Right.
And the reason why Amazon has taken over is, they bought Kindle. So then that, all the Kindle is Amazon. Then they bought Audible.
Yep.
So they own Audible. And then they can ship a book, paperback or hardback, to your house.
Or wetback.
In 48 hours. So yeah, you can get the wetback in 48 hours. Or the wetback will deliver the hardback to your house. Whatever. And I'm not going to judge what you're doing out there, but all of it is so quick that you can't do that necessarily at a Barnes & Noble. And even if you wanted to order online from Barnes & Noble, it still takes a few days longer than Amazon. So they have dominated the marketplace. And Jeff Bezos figured it out before everybody else. And God bless that guy, because he's making the real money, obviously. He had the foresight for it.
Sure. Well, I want you to stick around, and we'll get into some other stuff here. We're going to bring our other panelists on, but I wanted to make sure to talk about your book. Make sure to tell everyone, go buy it on Amazon, The Final Inch by Ross Patterson, but go buy the other ones too. So we want to line Ross's bank account.
I just know it's a comedy. Yes, and it's a comedy. They're all comedies. Yeah, so it's not serious.
Right.
They're all written like Naked Gun or Airplane or things like that. So it's like there's a one-liner every other page, even though it's the most disgusting shit on the face of the planet.
Sure. But have a sense of humor, right? And go buy the books. All right, Ross, stick with us. We'll be right back. I just want to thank our sponsor briefly, PreBorn. So I'm telling you guys, if you have any, you're looking for tax-deductible donations to make before Christmas, before the end of the year, please check out PreBorn. They are truly doing God's work over there. They are taking these women, they're scared, they have unplanned pregnancies, and if they're going to Planned Parenthood, they're being told, it's just a clump of cells, don't worry, we'll suck that thing right out of you. You're never going to regret a thing. And unfortunately, that's a bunch of lies. What PreBorn is doing is just showing these women the truth on ultrasound. This is your baby. It's an actual baby. This is a human life. And they're listening to the heartbeat. And in that moment, they're twice as likely to choose life. $28 is the cost of an ultrasound. So what I'm asking you is, how many babies' lives can you save? I mean, I can't think of a better place to put your money for this tax-deductible donation, because it's like, would you want to save 1, 5, 10 babies' lives, however many you can? Give them as holiday gifts, okay? However many you can, just know that you are truly saving babies' lives. You can go to preborn.com/Sarah. That is preborn.com/Sarah. All right, joining Ross and I now, we have Logan Hall. He is Blaze Media's digital strategist, and he uses this opportunity to pick a new MAGA hat to wear every time he's on the show. I haven't even seen. Is this navy?
No, I don't know if you can tell. It's weird because of the lighting, but it's black and it's supposed to be black and gold.
Oh, black and gold. Okay, all right. I have the black and gray, and I have the white and gold, but I don't have the black and gold. That's nice. That's very nice, Logan.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you guys have kept up with this Jasmine Crockett, like, I'm going to go to the House floor and I'm going to say that Lee Zeldin got a donation from Jeffrey Epstein. Oopsies, wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein? Oh, and by the way, my friend Stacey Plaskett, it's not crazy that she's texting Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional testimony. So what happened, for the viewers who have not been keeping up with it? By the way, if you haven't, go watch our episodes from this week, because we kind of explain it every single day what's happening. But Stacey Plaskett, Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, was caught by the Washington Post. That's how you know it's bad, when the Washington Post is like doing exposés on you. Like actually texting back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional testimony on Trump's second impeachment hearing. And even CNN is like, so why are you taking advice? Why are you like using Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex trafficker, for advice on your congressional hearing? And Jasmine Crockett doubled down, tripled down, is like going super bonkers crazy, trying to now defend Stacey Plaskett for texting back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein during this congressional testimony. Here's the latest of what she had to say.
Because I'm sorry, but like, we don't have ethical like rules that say that you can't receive text messages or you can't respond to text messages, especially if somebody has a certain record and you can't do it in committee. We all be sitting on our phones, and Yes, people be texting. I mean, our staff texts us. Like, everybody texts us. Like, people, I remember when I had the bleach blonde situation, you know who was texting me? My pastor. Okay. So, like, let me be clear. There is no ethical violation. And so the idea or the audacity to decide that you want to strip a Black woman of her committee assignment because she was texting with Epstein.
It's like, ma'am, no, the problem is not that she was texting. The problem is not that there was some sort of ethical violation with the texting. The whole problem is the texting, the pedophile. I feel like this is very, very clear. The problem is less about the texting. Although I will just say for the record, you probably should like already have your shit together before you go to the hearing. I would expect that you're not like, quick, give me my next talking point. But then we're apparently bringing retards into Congress, and now you're left with this. Logan, you're just joining us, so I'm going to let you answer to this first. I actually love her. I think she's a gift to us. I want her to keep doing more of this.
I think so too. It says a lot that is one of the Democrats' new rising stars. I mean, I think from some of the smarter Democrats, they understand that this does not make them look very good if this is supposedly one of the people that's going to be speaking for the party. But then you see some of them that are pretty enthusiastic about it. They're saying that she has all this energy. She's not afraid to speak out. And I don't know. I think that's a bold strategy. I would like to see how that works for them. But I think, they always demand like, oh, this is our sacred democracy. We have to, this institution is owed so much respect and whatever. I agree. Maybe it used to be, but if this is the caliber of person that they're sending to represent us, represent Americans in Washington, D.C., it's not that commanding of much respect from the American people. And the last thing I'll say, the Stacey Plaskett text messages that they're saying, she's like, oh, I was just texting a constituent. I mean, I don't know. That sounds pretty sketchy. So yeah, it's not been a great week for them with that whole debacle.
Yeah, and personally, Ross, I love to see it. I love to see every single moment of it.
I'm dying laughing because you said she's retarded. Speaking of retards, Logan, you are retarded.
No.
We talk about other retards, and we've got a retard on the show. That was his lead-in, and I was like, my God, Sarah.
No,
Look,
that had to have been unintentional. It had to have been.
He seems like a nice young man. Granted, he's in a yellow painted wall in a psych ward back there. But like, speaking of retards, let's go to Logan, our digital correspondent. I was like, holy shit.
You're trying to get me fired, Ross.
With Jasmine Crockett, you're fine. It's me on this one. Let's be honest here. With Jasmine Crockett, I don't think you have a choice but to double down. When you say something that dumb, you have to live in it. It's kind of like tripping, walking down a sidewalk when you pick it up into a light jog like you meant to do it. That's your only way out of this. Like when you say something so far off the rails, you have to own it and just be like, all right, cool, man. But I mean, there was Jeffrey Epstein and Trump, and which is not her voice, by the way.
Right.
Her speaking voice is whiter than mine, for Christ's sakes. And when she wants to prove a point that they're going after black people, which it's the same thing as what Jumanji said. Who's the lady who is on the Supreme Court? I can never say her name. Ketanji Brown Jackson. I just call her Jumanji. Whatever. It's the same thing with Jasmine Crockett. Like, you treat black people as if they are disabled, like she said on the Supreme Court. And Jasmine Crockett said, hey, you're doing this as a young black woman, and you're saying that I'm dumb. And it's like, dude, this has nothing to do with your race.
Right.
Dumb is on both sides. I can show you some of my relatives in West Virginia who are white and dumb. Like, it's just a question of being dumb. That's it. It doesn't have anything to do with your race.
Yeah. No, you're right. But I will also say, for the record, I would like my Congress people to not speak in Ebonics. Like, I don't feel like that's too much to ask. Logan, to your point, going back to what you said, because you are not retarded, I'd like to just state for the record, that's not what I was trying to say.
Logan, prove your retardism, all right? I need to know. Send me your IQ test.
Shut up, Ross. And I'm like, I really do. I think about it all the time. Like, this used to be an esteemed position. And now you have like women speaking in Ebonics, yelling at other people, at other members. And you have John Fetterman, who, by the way, the guy has gotten much more reasonable, but like he shows up in sweatpants and it's like, what the hell are we doing? Like, this used to be a very esteemed position. I don't understand how we got away from that. Like, people used to take this seriously. Now we're just letting anyone just show up, roll out of bed, and say whatever they want. And I think that it probably, I don't know, I think I blame the education system the most because they're teaching these people to vote for these retards. But all right, let's go ahead. I don't want to run out of time here because I have a couple other things that I want to talk to you guys about. So let's go ahead and take another quick break, and then we'll be back with more. Want to thank our sponsor this segment, Masa Chips. So I'm going to have my Mana White come over here and hand me these chips. Thank you. So these are already opened because I love them so much. And they were like, we need you to put the chips on your set. And I was like, you hear that? Oh yeah. Yep. Steven, is that picking up? Yep. There we go. Masa is Maha friendly. Okay, so oh my God, shut up!
Yes, it's my lunch break.
That is so funny. Are those the spicy ones?
Yes, these are the habanero ones, and they're
delightful.
The Cobanero. Yeah, I'm no lie. I was just eating these for lunch right before I came and did your show.
So funny. So obviously, Masa is the best. It's made with, let's see, organic white corn, 100% grass-fed beef tallow, and sea salt is all that is in this bag. These are the best chips. These are the cleanest chips. These are the crunchiest chips. They're dense. It's a very dense, good, like you can taste the difference. So I'm just telling you guys, go check them out. They're going to cost a little bit more than your regular, tortilla chip at the grocery store. That's because you're paying for the quality. All right. So go check them out. MasaChips.com. Use code Gonzales for 25% off of your first purchase. By the way, there's a Black Friday level offer happening as well. Vandy Crisps, also the potato chip, wonderful. So use either of those websites, MasaChips.com or VandyCrisps.com. Promo code Gonzales, or you can just scan that QR code right there on your screen. But go check them out, MasaChips.com. So I am so tired of these blowhards in Congress that do nothing, even the ones that are on our side. You guys will be so happy to hear that Congress just voted on a resolution to condemn socialism. And we're supposed to be like, yay, Democrats helped us condemn socialism. Yay, there are so many things that we still haven't gotten done, but they had time to write a strongly worded message to the manager condemning socialism. Logan, I saw you respond to this online, so I know that you saw it. Like, how lame? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, this is kind of the GOP specialty is like conservative, these routine denunciation of things that make you seem like you're actually winning when you're not really doing anything at best, or at worst, you're just actively and completely losing, which it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why we're going to denounce socialism? I mean, am I going to stop having to pay taxes for all these illegals and their health care, for these people's, I know you've talked about this, these obese people's SNAP benefits?
Yep.
Are we going to stop sending all this money to every single country on earth? Yep. It would be nice. I would just, it would be good if they would at least address the problem, right? The problem is not necessarily socialism. You can condemn socialism all you want, but Zoran Mamdani is the next mayor of New York City. You have Ilhan Omar helping run these. I don't know if she necessarily is, but the Somalians in Minneapolis are 100% running these fraud rings and taking all these welfare scams, etc. So it would be nice if they would recognize the problem. This is not a socialism problem necessarily. It's not an ideological thing. It is an immigration problem. These people are coming here to steal our money and to loot the system. Okay, they're here. They're not coming here and being like, oh, we just want to enshrine Karl Marx's policies into law. No, they're saying they want to loot the country and destroy it through immigration. If they're going to put out some resolution like this, even if it's not meaningful, I would at least like them to recognize the problem and be like, we condemn mass immigration.
Right.
But no, they're too weak for that. So they have to be like, oh, well, we condemn socialism. Apparently, it never occurs to a lot of the GOP that you cannot bring a bunch of people, millions and millions of people from third world socialist countries and not have your country start looking more like a third world socialist country.
Yeah, like if you guys want to vote on something, how about you vote to halt the H-1B visas? How about you vote to do something to get these people the out of our country, Ross?
I know why they're doing it, by the way. Half that party is now socialist, and they're the only ones that are getting any airtime. They're the only ones that are getting any media coverage. All of it is socialist. Like you said with Mom Donnie in New York, that one's obvious. But now you have one that just got elected in Seattle.
Yep.
The people that are on the Democrat, the moderate Democrat is dying right now, and they're afraid. So, yeah, that 99 votes from the Democrats right there, those are the moderate Democrats saying, okay, in the midterms in 26, this is purely a strategical thing for the 2026 midterms by having a vote like this. We're condemning socialists so that way when more and more get elected here at the midterms in 2026, know that as moderate Democrats, we didn't want this. Yeah. Republicans are saying they didn't want this. And when it becomes an issue, when Mamdani takes office in January, it's January 1st, and he's already asking for money now, socialism has never worked in the history of the world, in any country, any city, any state. Then when it all fails and falls apart, they can go back to this vote and say, see, guys, we didn't want this in the first place. And they'll point to this bullshit vote that you're talking about. But the Democrats who are moderates are so afraid to piss off the socialists that if, God forbid, AOC or an Ilhan Omar or somebody else like that goes on their social media or gets out on the stump with Bernie Sanders and talks down to one of these candidates, they might get primaried. They might lose in March or April, and then this is going to extend into the fall. This is a long-term play. This isn't for the short-term bullshit in the outcome right now.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great point because you see this fractured Democrat Party. It's nice to know that it's not just us who's having some internal civil war bullshit because you see the Democrat Party, the Chuck Schumers of the party, and then to your point, Ross, the AOCs of the party. And it's like, you can't have both at the same time. You guys are going to have to figure out what your identity is. I'm gonna say I don't know. I don't want there to be socialism in this country, but I also feel like it will be more easily defeated. So it's hard to know which one I would even prefer. At this point, I prefer the socialists as long as they're not actually winning elections. If they're going to win elections, you give me Chuck Schumer all day long. And I say that, I just want to make clear, I loathe Chuck Schumer. I just would prefer him to all of these weirdos and nutbags like AOC and Ilhan Omar, who, by the way, shouldn't even be here. And also shouldn't be allowed to serve in Congress. Anyway, that's the story for
the problem is immigration.
Yes.
Not socialism.
Yes, exactly. Logan Hall, Ross Patterson, thank you guys. And make sure to go get Ross's book, The Final Inch, over on Amazon. We'll see you Monday.